Hello everybody, Twitch Nitro here. It's been a while. A long while. So I'm here with in Minecraft, and once again, after a very long time, I started playing again recently, fairly recently, in 1.16, and inspired to do it. I'm going to go into most of that stuff at the end of the video, because I figure if you're here, you're probably here to actually see some kind of content and not me talk about why I've not been making videos. So I'll put some of that at the end of this video. So I figured I would start a new series, kind of new. It's going to be a map making series because that's what I apparently do. I tried playing some and recording some vanilla survival Minecraft and that went poorly. I got bored quite quickly. I think I prefer watching people play survival Minecraft than I do playing it myself. I was playing by myself. I tend to enjoy servers more. But yeah, this is where I feel at home. So talking to a friend who I'll get to at the end of the video because they really sort of pushed me in this direction to start working on things. I'm going to be making a revamp, a remake, if you will, a reimagining of an old map that I made called Patchwork Peril. So this will be the new Patchwork Peril. This will be Patchwork Peril 2. And so I've decided to build myself a notice board in order to document the process of me working on it. I'm hoping that these will be shorter videos detailing little steps I've done during the process, and what I'll do is at the end of this series I'll release the download for public map. These are all going to be pre-recorded to a certain extent. I don't know how much of the map will actually be completed. As you can see, I've already started quite a lot, like prototyping already. I might go through in this video or another video some of the initial steps. I did take some screenshots. In fact, if I'm editing correctly, those screenshots might be on screen right now, and you can take a gander at those. So this series will be a bunch of short videos highlighting the process that I'm using to create Patchwork Peril 2, just like I did with the original Patchwork Peril, actually. I documented that as well. And at the end, there'll be a world download, so you can all play the game. Hopefully there'll be a world download if I can figure out how to do that. I've become an old man. Ignore all this. This is prototyping that I did before. None of this will probably make it to the end. So let's have a tour. Let's start this off with a tour. So Patchwork Peril, if you did not know and can't be bothered to go back and watch old videos that are of dubious quality, is a PvP styled game where it's player versus environment. So people will have loadouts of gear and they will attack mobs that will spawn periodically and come in and attack you as the player. It's called Patchwork Peril because of the arena itself. The arena will be designed and was designed in such a way that there are sort of different chunk areas, right? And as the game goes on, these chunks change. So if you imagine a grid, like a chessboard, containing different sort of styles of patches, in this case, right? And so you'll have like a village patch and a stronghold patch, and you'd have different loadouts available to you in different patches. So you'd have like a sword in like a villagey type patch or whatever. In the old version, it was much more simple. The patches were just different colors of clay, and they would change color. They were also a lot smaller. So as you can see, I'm planning on increasing the size massively. So this is the area that we actually have to deal with here, and it's 112 by 112. Each patch is 16 by 16, so it's the classic Minecraft chunk. If I press F3G, I can bring up chunk borders. This area here is actually aligned to chunks, so each of these chunks exist. And what will happen is players will spawn in here. Mobs will also spawn into here, And over time, it will get harder and harder and harder, and players have to survive as long as possible, but also kill as many mobs as possible. So the players will be competing for a score, probably just mobs killed, the number of mobs killed. I don't know if I'll put any quality on mobs, so let's say killing a Ravager will be worth more than killing a zombie. I may do that. I'll have to see. It depends how I'm feeling or how I feel the balance is. You may just want to run away from a Ravager. So, as you're fighting, the different chunks or the different patches will change. So the environment will change, your gear will change, and the effects of the environment will change. So in the original version, there used to be a chunk which would blind you. I don't know if I'm going to do something like that in this, because I feel as though blinding a player just takes away their ability to experience the environment, and I don't think I'll want to do that. Let's get rid of those lines. They are horrible. So this is one of the areas I'm prototyping. I've started this mostly with just building, because I want the arena to feel correct. So I started off with this sort of basic thing here. It looked pretty plain, and then I decided, well, I don't want grass in this area. I actually want podzol. So this will be a sort of ruined fortress style area. There's some shopping districts here that are sort of destroyed. There's a whole underground area, actually. So this is what the current area looks like. You can go inside this mountain, and this area here is actually blocked off. There will be, in the ends, there will be ways around. So if you go into this corner and then press shift, that trapdoor will flatten you to the floor so you can crawl out of this area. So it's a sort of one-way gap. And there's even water. There was not water in the original, I can tell you that. I'm not sure yet. I haven't figured out quite how water is going to work, because you see, and that might be a problem that we solve in this episode. If this chunk changes and it doesn't have water here, but this chunk does have water, the water here will want to flow into here, and I don't like that. I want each of these patches to be very separate. Very separate areas. Over here we have a villager area that I'm working on. And so if I've done a poor job of explaining here, because these patches change, what's different? So over there's a way down into the underground here. Right, if I press F3N actually and enter spectator mode, because this is faster, there's an underground access point here in this version of the map. But if I go over to this village version and press F3G to bring up the chunks, I know they're horrible, but bring them up so we can see. In the chunk where that was, it's no longer here. It's disappeared. There's still kind of the entrance to it. So if you're in this chunk fighting monsters and you know, punching them in the face with a wall block, you won't be doing that. You'll have a sword probably, or a bow and arrow, or I'm not sure what. I have, again, all very much development. I just want to get the aesthetics and this sort of general, the arena itself completed. So if you're in here and you're fighting, and then what will happen is this chunk will change. You'll probably, I'll add some kind of indication so a player will know that it is about to change, or at least I want to do that. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. Maybe a particle effect, something. And this area will change, and then, poop, the building that was here will disappear. And now if you're up here, you're up here. If you're down there, you're down there. You might take a little bit of suffocation if you're standing in the wrong place. Probably what will happen is you'll just fall. You'll do a tick of damage and you'll fall through, and you'll land here. If you were, let's say, standing on stairs or jumping when it happened, right? Or, you know, classic Minecraft fashion now, it'll flatten you to the ground and you can crawl out. Crawling, all of this wasn't in the game. None of that was in the game back when I was doing the original. So this is the village area. As you can see, it's much more green. It's much more lush. We've got a different block palette. I want it to be really clear to the players when they're in an area what kind of area it is. And I'm building it up like this. I'm building up like one area at a time. There's going to be 7. I currently have 3. So this area, you know, you have the underwater area, and you have a way in here, which didn't exist over there, for the underground area. These areas are sort of still the same kind of over this area, but the underground and this fountain's changed. So the style of the areas, the feel of the areas will very much be different, and hopefully it'll be very obvious to players what area they're in. So players can learn which areas they prefer, which areas they fight best in, and they can move around the area. So movement was a really important design concept. It's going to be really important for the development. So this area is quite a bit different from these two previous areas. It's got no water. So again, I have to figure out what will happen if this area here gets drained of water because it's changed over to this red, nethery sort of area, right? If this area here is no longer got water and this area does have water, I'll need to stop the water flowing into here. And I want to do it in a way which doesn't obstruct movement, doesn't affect the player. This is a secret passageway under the water that I guess you'll be able to find in the map. So you can swim usually through here, but in this, there's not. Sometimes this area is blocked off, sometimes this area is not blocked off. So the areas you can go around in will change constantly. Let's get rid of that. Again, it's annoying. So these houses will change. Sometimes they're here, sometimes they're not here. Sometimes the trees are different. I'm going to make it so you can't break blocks. Block breaking will not be available to you, but some blocks will be. Leaf blocks. These blocks will be, because you can suffocate in them. Certain trees, this tree, I guess, is it a tree? It's disgusting. Lovely, but disgusting, if you understand what I mean. I mean, I love the style of it. I love the style of these new Nether biomes and the new Nether blocks. New to me. Not exactly new to the community so much, but new to me. This drawbridge here is pulled up. This area actually has a little bit of lava in. This area is completely drained, more drained. So I think by the end of this episode, I'll have another area to show off, hopefully, and I'll also figure out, I'm starting to prototype some ideas I've got. So the idea is that the final area, the final arena, the changing mechanism is going to be very different. In the original version, I used fill replace commands. In this version, I'm going to use something that I didn't really get to play around with before I stopped, which is these structure blocks, which are incredibly cool. I really like them, and I'm going to use structure blocks to change the arena in interesting ways. So I think what we'll do next is figure out water, because that's going to be a big problem if I can't figure out some way. But where there is a command, there is a way. So I've tinkered. I went away for a short amount of time, and I think I've got it figured out. So the problem we were having is water flowing when structures are spawned in, right? Like when we summon our structure, it's basically just going to put water where we want water. The problem with that is, let's say we use a fill command, water flows. So in this case, we don't want it to flow. We want floaty cheaty water. We don't want flowing water to flow over chunk boundaries. So if this chunk appears and water flows out into a different chunk, you could end up with a nether biome with water in it and stuff like that. We don't want that. That seems bad. So how I fixed this was, well, I need a block that a survival player isn't going to be able to interact with normally. It needs to stop water, and I need to walk through it. Luckily, when structure blocks were added, they added these little things. This is a structure void. And structure voids are cool because if we put down our structure voids, yes, I know, they are invisible, so they're hard to see, and then use our fill command, it does this, which is wonderful, which is what we have here, except I've got the show invisible blocks on here, so you can see this is where the structure voids are, and then this blue here, this is where the air blocks are. So this water is perfectly cheaty, we can walk through it, it's very nice, very strange, don't usually see cheaty water too much in Minecraft. So if we save this, there's one small issue, and that is that structure block voids, this isn't their intended purpose. Their intended purpose is when you clone over an area, if a block is already in that area, it won't replace it. So for example, if this here is the water, the Minecraft water structure, which we've just saved here. If I put a redstone block here, this is where the void block is, and if I summon this structure, it all broke. It broke because when it cloned over, the voids didn't clone over, basically. The air was, like, sort of, it remained. The air remained just like this redstone block remained. It saw that there would be a void here, and so there was meant to be no replacing of the blocks, and so that happened. So if we have all of our chunks, saved as structures, and we want them to function, we need a workaround. So we need a workaround for our workaround, right? So I thought about it a little bit longer, and I thought, okay, well, it's possible to instantly delete a command block. So if you have a command block, this is a magical command block that I've just whipped up. If I put it down, it'll instantly remove itself. In fact, actually, what it's doing is it'll leave behind void blocks, right? So a structure block can't clone over a void block, but a command block certainly can place a void block, right? So what I did is I created this. Now, the reason why this automatically activates is because I have selected the always active command, and I have this command inside of the block. So because it's always active, and it has this block, it will instantly kill itself. So if you want to get one of these yourself, so this is a normal command block, nothing's been done to it. You go into it, you select always active, you click done, and thus it's not replaced itself. Then you go back into it, you put your command inside, the command that will actually remove the block. You click done on that. And now, as you can see, it hasn't deleted itself because it won't activate it automatically. It's already activated once, and this is an impulse command block, so it will only activate once. If I control middle click this, I now have it with MBT, so this has the command in, and wherever I place this in the world, it'll delete itself. So you can use this with fill commands. If you wanted to set it and its surrounding area to air, for example, if you wanted to remove area, this can be quite useful for that, because you can then just right-click around, and it'll delete a certain amount of area for you, or fill a certain amount of area in, and it will remove itself as well. So it cleans itself up. So what I've done here is I've got this second water structure. So if we save this, and then we do this here. So what this is going to do is this is going to spawn this structure over here. Aha! So it's done exactly what we want. The water isn't flowing because it's being held back by these voids. We do have a second where we see this block. Now, that can be mitigated is if in the structure I had all of these replacing sort of air in a certain area or a fill command, I can have these spawn in the structure in an area where it's out of the way. I can use execute commands. I can sort of nest commands in a way using some more advanced things. This is quite basic right now what I'm showing you, but if I used a slightly more advanced command, I could make it so it just replaces the air and a player never has to see that happen. Because that's a little bit weird. If you're going around and suddenly, oh, command blocks, oh, they're gone. That would look a little bit jarring to the player. So, I think this is the technique that I'm hopefully going to use. I'll probably, after saying this and after this video goes out, not like this technique for some reason. Or someone will point out to me that there's some glaring, obvious flaw with using structure voids in this way. This is a hacky way, so I fully expect when I actually get to the functionality of the game that there will be something really bad that won't function right, and I'll have to basically patch this again. I'll have to hack in a different thing. But it works, seemingly, and I think it does what I want it to, so this is good. So this video was meant to be quite short. And it's actually gone on for quite a long time. So I'm going to wrap up this episode. Thank you very much for watching. There will be more, hopefully. Definitely, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I am motivated to get this map both done and also to document the process for YouTube, for you guys to watch if you're still into that. If there's anybody subscribed to this channel that's actually still interested in watching Minecraft content. And on that same vein, I mentioned at the beginning that I was spurred on to sort of do this. I was inspired. So I was watching a friend of mine who also does YouTube, Whatman. His link will be in the description. He's been playing with a great group of people over on a server called the V4 Vanilla server. And he's been playing some good old, you know, UHC survival, so it's ultra hardcore survival, where you don't get the normal regeneration. And watching his videos and talking with him got me inspired to get back into Minecraft, and more specifically, it was him that suggested that I do a revamp of Patchwork Peril. When I asked him, because I wanted to make a map again. I had the creative energy to make a map. I have this creative energy, I wanted to do it, and he was very supportive of you know, making this map. So I want to thank him, and if you are interested in you know, survival server play, he also does streams where he's been streaming different games other than Minecraft, like Fall Guys. So if you're into any of that, I highly suggest you check out his channel and check out the V for V. He hasn't asked me to do this sort of shout out, but I really wanted to do it. So thank you very much, Watt. Yes, this is an emotionally sappy ending, kind of. But all great anime outros are. So we're anime now, apparently. So again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video where we'll hopefully have more of these done. I didn't get to finish another one of these in this episode, I'm sorry. I will show you in the beginning of the next episode. Hopefully I have all of these done, and we can do a little bit more command blocking. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.